sent you, Kevin, I just sent you a note that I couldn't get in. It kept saying you were in another meeting.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but anyway, I finally got in.
Oh, trust me, Ron, it was operator error on my part.
Very good.
Oh, well, we've all been there.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad everybody made it today. Welcome to it's Monday the 19th. This is the Green Valley Camera Club Multimedia SIG group. And today we have videos from 4 people, at least to start. So we got Brian and Susan have got one. Pat's got one. Barb's got one, and Holly's got one. So why don't we start with Brian and Susan's first, and then we can chat about it and go from there and see some other videos. And then Pat, I also will play your video for you when the time comes, if you want, to make life a little easier.
I
Brian?
don't dare play it from here.
Okay. Okay. And Brian, do you and Susan want to talk about some of these goodies first, or do you want to show it and then talk about some of the fun that you were having with this the video?
Okay, this is from 2019. We've been fiddling with it off and on since then. Long story, but it's pretty rough. Mainly because the video and the stills come from a number of different people. It's a trip that we took with these people. And for the footage that goes like this, consider where we are and how we're shooting the video, and then we'll look forward to seeing how you do it. Okay, it all will become clear when we play the video for you. But we struggled to make it a reasonable length, get it, we wanted to get it down around 7 minutes, just wasn't happening. So it runs just under 8 minutes. And for that length, we apologize. But think of it as okay, the neighbor went on a trip somewhere and then set you down for 6 hours and beat you to death with slides. Think of it as a post-vacation slideshow in a way. So it's going to be a little longer in that respect because the people that were on the trip, none of whom they're going to want to see it in a little bit of detail. So here's what we came up with. Share screen. Host disabled participant screen sharing. That's on you, Kevin.
Oh, you know what? Hang on, that's my fault. I did that on the other one and hadn't gotten to it. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. All right, try that now.
Hey, there we go. All right.
All right.
We'll do this one.
You had it on screen too.
Share sound, optimize clip. Okay, here we go.
Do you want mic on? Ron?
Here we go.
What's the story here?
I don't know.
It's not showing up.
Stop it.
Can you hear that?
There.
Couldn't hear it and we couldn't see it.
Eating grass. Can you see that?
No, we couldn't see it either.
Okay, then we'll try a different screen. Okay. Do you see black screen?
No. What's the story here? I wonder if it's something on my end that I'm doing wrong.
Oh, probably not.
You click
Probably.
share screen.
We're on share screen.
Okay, we'll try that.
Here we go. Now you got it.
Okay. Horse eating grass. Because he doesn't care about the view.
At the head of Owens Valley in California, past the town of Bishop, a small side road leads you west up the Rock Creek Valley into the mountainous northern reaches of the John Muir Wilderness. Encompassing much of the eastern slope of the Sierra Nevada, it is readily accessible to hikers and horseback riders. Our 3-day, 2019 trip into the wilderness was guided by the Rock Creek Pack Station, in business since 1947 and famous for their knowledge and expertise. The first day's ride would head west into the wilderness area to a base camp near Dorothy Lake. Before leaving, each rider, based on their experience, was matched to their horse or mule. Next, the guides adjusted the tack to the rider. The area had seen substantial rain a few days earlier, which settled the dust, but enough time had passed that there was no mud.
It made for great riding conditions.
The pace was relaxed, with plenty of stops for conversation and photography, while the horses supplemented their feed rations. From a distance, the mountains looked dry, but there was a surprising amount of running water. Lots of cell phone photography on this trip.
And a lot of really rough video, since this was all handheld, non-gimbaled footage shot on horseback.
While we rode through the glacial moraine country south of the lake, a pack crew was setting up our base camp in the trees next to Dorothy Lake.
Ah, what a luxury to find our tents already set up.
Our second day would be a ride up to Tamarack Lake, at the head of the rugged glacial valley that backdropped the view of Dorothy Lake.
All the horses seemed to love the fresh alpine grasses.
Sarah was our lead guide for the day as we left the main trail and headed up toward Tamarack Lakes. From this spot, it was difficult to see how we were going to get up the valley with horses, but there's a trail.
Around 11,000 feet elevation, you reach tree line. Past this point, trees don't grow. It's just too high for them.
Tamarack Lake, at 11,560 feet elevation, is one of the prettiest places you can ever hope to see. And because it is difficult to get to, the only people who go there are the kind of people who will take care to leave it as they found it.
horse, still not caring about the view, probably thinking about his next meal.
After our lunch break, we came to the steepest part of the day's ride. The video does not do it justice. This was very steep. The third day would see us riding back to the pack station, but with a side trip to Francis Lake, a short distance up yet another glacial valley. Time for a last cup of coffee and a chance to supplement Louie's diet. He would eat anything.
Proved that when he stole your hot marshmallow right off your stick, didn't he?
Back out on the trail, another leisurely morning with picture postcard weather. Once again, offered a choice between eat or drink. The horses usually ate. Even late in the season, mid-September, there were flowers to be found, while the leaves had not yet started to turn. Louis always kept an eye on the horses.
Maybe he just didn't trust them.
Finally, Francis Lake, another beautiful mountain lake in a spectacular setting, perfect for a leisurely lunch break and a last photo opportunity. And then it was finally time to head for the barn. Like most such trips, it was much quieter heading back. After giving us a break for the previous 2 days, the dust finally put in an appearance.
Coming into the pack station, we could see back across the valley to where we had been.
Along with the corral horses welcoming us back, there was also the owner, Craig London, who has spent every summer there since he was born in 1954.
We can understand why.
Very nice.
A beautiful area. Wow, that was fun to see.
Yes, very good.
Thank you. The thing that makes this video special in one respect is at that particular time in 2019, there were fires to the north, south, east. There were fires all around. And for 3 days, we were in a bubble of clear, clean air. It was truly amazing in that respect. We lucked out.
You know, the thing that was nice too was I like that you kind of said that the video was obviously non-gimbal, and that didn't bother me at all. That, you know, you figure it's somebody with an iPhone and they're holding it on a horse that's going up and down. And so really, I thought the whole thing was great. The length was great. The music that you selected, I thought was wonderful. It kind of gives you that very calm sense in terms of you're watching these pretty pictures and stuff, and you've got this music, and then the narration I thought was great as well. And always, I think Susan's voice is just very calming. So well done, both of you.
Thank you.
I
Say,
like the-
Ryan, you guys weren't horsing around, but what I didn't see was too many pictures of you and Susan. So you have somebody else take the picture so that you're more a part of it.
Actually, if you know what we're wearing, we're in there more than you think.
Oh, yeah.
Um, But
I run from cameras.
you should see the really rough footage, the really bouncing stuff. It's hard to take a picture, even when the damn horse is standing still. You know, you're trying to take a picture and he's eating, and every time he takes a bite, he takes a step. So ka-tunk, ka-tunk, ka-tunk. Tossed a lot of footage.
We were limited on gear.
I like the one.
How you shared the narration, that worked very well, I think.
Yeah, that was really great. I like the way Brian came in with just a little something here and there. It really, really was nice.
Yeah, we thought we'd try. That's the first time we've tried that. We thought we'd give it a shot. Something else about the equipment, we were limited to 30 pounds a piece, and that includes
Camping gear.
all your clothing, your ground pad, your sleeping bag. 30 pounds goes really quick.
Yeah.
The only thing that they didn't weigh was whatever, we could hang on ourselves. So bought a photography vest just for this trip so we could pack it full of the batteries and whatnot. And so
I had down a couple of notes, Brian. I liked your music selection, as Kevin was saying, and I liked how you changed it with each day. And it was similar kind of music, but I thought that was very effective. I really like that. I agree with Gary with two of you narrating. I'd never heard that in any of your films, and you just said you'd not done it. But it was a nice touch. I thought it added to the movie. And there's something else. Let's see. Oh, maps at the in your segments. I thought that was neat how you showed that. It was a simple kind of way to show it and then add the third place and that type of thing. But I don't know how you did that, but I liked the effect of the simple map that you showed in that. And I really like that last photo that's used with your credits, with the horse off to the side and then the credits rolling.
that's a frame grab out of a segment of video, cropped down to just give that little thing to work with. Kevin, if you've got 2 or 3 minutes, I can show you where that little circle technique comes from.
Sure, go right ahead. That'd be great.
We're gonna.
Is this going to be in DaVinci so people know this is the software?
And DaVinci has versions for Windows and Apple, I'm pretty sure. All right, sharing screen. We'll share there and I'll bring it in. Okay, effects. All right, the DaVinci timeline looks pretty much like any other timeline. All of the green stuff is the music. This line right there is the narration. And this line up here is added on sound effects and video associated with, sound associated with particular video clips. So we'll slide the audio down out of the way. And this is the video right there. This first track is all of the videos and slides. The second track is text overlays. Right here is the special effects. You add an adjustment layer and then you go over into effects. And this little jobbity right here, you can move around on the screen. I'm going to go to this one because it's underneath our camera.
Based on your-
Let's see. Okay, there we go. This is what makes the effect work. And this one, let me get rid of that one. That is for this pack station right here. You can change the thickness of the circle. You can stretch it into ellipses and you move it around and you make it come and go. And it's all contained in this clip here. So you don't have to mess with the original photograph right here, which is underneath everything. It's a free effect that some guy put out there via a YouTube channel. I paid him $5. He had a tip me jar. And that it's actually pretty simple to do. DaVinci is like most others. There's media pools. Here are the sound effects. Here's the voiceover, the various music clips. And then these are all of the stills and video and all that stuff over here. And you just drag it onto the timeline and drop it. DaVinci is, we're just scratching the surface. It's not real hard to use. How do we get rid of this thing?
Stop share.
There we
Stop
go,
share.
stop share. There it is.
Oh, there you go.
It's not hard to use. There's so much in the way of tutorials and whatnot available on YouTube that I'm kind of smacked myself for every time I looked at DaVinci and said, no, I got Premiere Pro. But Premiere Pro is not going to be used again. We're exclusively DaVinci.
Would you, Gary, or I'm Gary, Brian, would you, compared to Premiere, obviously there's the learning curve of going to a new software. How do you like it in terms of its functionality from Premiere to DaVinci?
There's a couple of things that Premiere has that this doesn't, but after a while you find workarounds. One of the things that I am really liking about DaVinci, and let me start it up again. Show you real quick. In Premiere, you have outside applications, additional applications to go do sound. Well, let me full screen. Here is where you add.
Try it one more time.
Yeah.
Try it one more time. All we're seeing is your desktop.
Oh, well, you don't see the.
He said no. Pull it off.
Stop sharing and then try it again. And also, are you optimizing the picture?
Let me make sure.
Stop share.
Stop share.
Try it one more time. Make sure you optimize the photo.
Share, scan, and optimize.
Okay.
Screen
yeah.
one. You clicked on screen 2.
Share screen.
Take it to
Okay, which do you see?
You have to go the other way.
See it now.
You had it. There you go.
Okay. They've got a number of, I don't even know what you call it,
Modules.
DaVinci, but here's where you add your media. You can cut it up on this screen. Here's where all the editing takes place. Fusion is for special effects that I know nothing about at this point. Color, here's where all of the color grading takes place. And again, just barely scratching the surface here. This is what replaces Adobe Audition. This is where you can mess with, you've got a mixer over here and lots of other things. We're a little further into this than the other things, but it's nice having it contained totally within DaVinci. And finally, here is where you set up your export, take it over to the render queue, hit render 1, and just watch it crank out. It's a very, I won't say user friendly, but it's not hard to learn. There's just so much information out there. And if you go to the SIG website under educational resources, there's a link to one guy that we use a lot for DaVinci instruction. He's very good. So,
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that's the one nice thing about any of these platforms that you're using to edit, whether it's iMovie or DaVinci or Premiere or Final Cut. There's so much information out there. If you go to YouTube and you type in a question, it's amazing the videos that come back and somebody's got a video on it and you figure it out. And I think that's the hardest thing that you're going through right now too, is that going from software to software. And now you know how to do it in Premiere, yet you're trying to learn how to do it in DaVinci. So I think that's definitely tough.
Losing that muscle memory that we had with Premiere has been tough. But another thing that
Concepts are the same.
yeah, the concepts are the same. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Premiere was always fiddling with the software, and from one week to the next, you didn't know if it was going to work the same way again. DaVinci's is a little more stable, and the changes that they make seem to be, more not as dramatic. So that's another thing in DaVinci's favor.
And it's free.
Free.
Free is always the magic price. We
Yeah.
love free.
Premiere
Well,
was
thank
just
you for
getting-
doing that.
Hey, Brian, this is Todd. I have a question for you. So are you using the audio program on there as opposed to Audacity or another program?
Actually, we recorded this voice track in Audacity and imported it into DaVinci and then chopped it up and moved it around.
That was just a comfort thing that we're used to Audacity.
Yeah, you can record directly into DaVinci, but the last time we tried it, they were having an issue with the audio. So we haven't looked again to see if it'll do it correctly now.
All right, thanks.
Well, if we hadn't waited
Did
till the
you,
last minute.
quick question, and then we'll go on to Pat's video. Did you, when you did your work in Audacity, did you do all your corrections for your sound and then you just brought it into DaVinci and then just sliced it up?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, that's good to know. All right, well, let's thank you for doing that. And at some point too, I'd love to see us when we have like no videos, have another little tutorial on DaVinci and just kind of maybe watch you go through the process. To me, that's always fascinating to see these softwares in action and see what they do. So Pat, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your video, and then I'll play it for you when you're ready.
How's my voice sound?
You're sounding loud and clear, Pat. We love it.
Okay. We live up here on Long Beach Peninsula during the summertime, and we live in our RVs. Three couples. We're good friends, and I was test flying my drone at the end of May, and one of my neighbors said, "Hey, could you fly that drone over my place? Get some video of that." So, hey, what do you do, when you get a request like that? So this is a video basically of showing their place from two perspectives. One is from the drone, and the other is I have a handheld gimbaled camera from DJI that my wife used to get some ground level views of their property, basically. And so that's really what the video is all about. It's a little long, sorry for that, but
4 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's give it a try and see what happens here. Hang on.
is it? Oh, there it is. Kathy.
And that's all, folks.
All right. I love it. That makes me laugh. Nice job, Pat. You know that there's a couple technical little things that I thought or think you can do for your editing to do even a little bit more than what you did. But other than that, what a beautiful area. Music selection was great, I thought. Just from the stuff from the ground, I thought was really nice with the handheld DJI little hand. I can't remember what the name of that one is. It's not the Osmo, but it's something else. And I thought that was nice. The drone stuff was nice. The one thing that I think you could really cut some of that out would be when you're changing angles and stuff, you're horizontal and then you're tipping and you're showing us all that. Well, cut that stuff out. Or like if you were, when you went up way high to 300 feet, you would turn and then you'd stop and then it would start again and stop and it would be kind of jerky. And I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but that just, it bothers me. I'd rather see it be smoother because that drone is so smooth. What do you think about that, Pat?
I
Pat?
think I need more practice.
Yes. Well, and I think too, it's just more too of just an editing thing where you say, okay, I'm going to cut out some of that stuff where you're changing camera angles, and that time, you're around 12 minutes or so, something like that. I bet you just by cutting out some of that camera stuff where you're changing angles, I bet you knock a couple minutes off of that video. So I'd like to hear what anybody
Okay.
else thinks.
Yeah, Pat?
It looked like you had, oh dear, I guess I'm not coming through. I wonder why.
You're
Pat?
fine.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was surprised when when you were way up in the air at how well it kept the horizon being level. Is that something built into the drone? You looked at the horizon.
Well, the drone has a gimbal.
Yeah,
The drone has a gimbaled camera.
okay, so it's
And
automatic.
so when you fly it, it's automatic. I can raise and lower the view, as Kevin was talking about, but when it's, set level, the camera stays level. And it's just a matter of going up or down and shooting what you're shooting as you're going up and down.
Okay.
Just as a
Question.
quick,
Does that answer your question, Jim?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
question. That's a DJI Mavic Air 2, correct?
Correct.
Are you using the tripod setting on your controller?
Yes.
Okay, that'll help with stability. There's also down in the menus a way to slow the rate of change on movements of the camera up and down or adjustments of the drone. So you can get even more control on it.
Okay, I can look for that. Thank
But I
you.
thought you had some, you hear me? Because I don't get green. Oh, here I am, green.
yeah, we hear you. Go ahead, Ollie.
So, Pat, I thought you had some nice footage with a story to tell about how you're spending your summer, but it really needs narration or script so the viewer knows why you're taking the photos of what you're taking of. Like, where is Bear Run? Who are your friends there? What does this shot show when we see this background and the water and all that? It looked very beautiful, but what it was, somebody not familiar with the area wouldn't know. And you might forget by the time another couple of years go by. So it needs narration.
Well, I appreciate the comments. This was made pretty much for them and probably their circle of family and friends. I just thought I'd show it to you folks just to get some opinions. And you're right. I mean, if you, like you guys are all stone cold, you didn't know where it was. You don't know where Long Beach is, and you don't know who my friends are. So you're right in that regard.
Yeah, this one might work really well if you were to sit with him and watch it and talk back and forth about it and record that.
Okay.
It's an easy way to do a script, and it might be just what would suit your purpose.
Okay. Thank you.
Another quick question. Is it off Pacific Way or Peninsula Highway?
Where we live?
Yeah, the place where you shot the video. We've been up there a lot of times.
Okay. It's in between Pacific Highway and Sandridge, and we're in a little housing development off of 227th. Clipson Beach area is really just west of us.
Okay. Thanks.
Barb, did you have a comment? I thought you kind of were going to say something, maybe not.
I was just going to tell Pat that I did enjoy the music that you had selected for it. And it's a beautiful area. And I was going to ask where it was located, but you've kind of, I don't know those towns that you're mentioning, but it's in California. Is that right?
No, it's in Washington State.
Washington State. Okay.
Southwest corner.
Okay. And that would be helpful to viewers. I mean, yes, your friend knows it's his home, but it would be helpful at the beginning, if you do narration, or even if you don't want to do narration, you could title some of the pieces.
Okay, thank you.
You know, the other thing I was thinking too, Pat, the beauty of it is you can always have this version to give to your friends and then say, okay, now I want to do one where I tighten it up a little bit. And like Brian and Susan had the map and stuff, which I thought was a great idea in theirs. That's a great way to maybe set that thing. Holly's idea of adding some narration, I think, is great, or some titles of where things are at. And I think you could go in and slice this up even a little bit more and maybe make it down to, let's say, like a 4-minute video or a 6-minute video. And I think it'll be more interesting for people who don't know you or know these people. That something that you would then share and show to people, hey, gosh, this is a beautiful area. So that's just a thought too.
Okay, that's a good thought.
Does anybody have anything else?
Are you shooting in 4K?
No. 1080.
One last quick little goodie for Jim. With the drone, that gimbal will always keep that horizon straight, like I've got this pen. And even if you turn and you start flying in direction, that gimbal the gimbal doesn't turn, you know, and horizon that. It'll keep that horizon. So even if that gimbal's moving and the drone is moving and it's going sideways, that gimbal will always keep that camera level. That's the beauty of that goodie. So
I think there's
just as an FYI.
I think there's a setting, aircraft mode or something, where if you want to simulate the view out the front of the airplane as you're going along and you turn, then it'll bank the viewpoint like that. If you don't have that set, it'll keep it dead level.
To come with
Yeah, there's a locking. You can lock the gimbal, so to speak, and it will do that.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, this is
Go ahead.
Todd. I wanted to make just a comment and everything, because I have been digitalizing 8mm film from my grandparents. And the one thing, and this is really for all of us, and that is that while we may know what it is, future generations, when they see that, might have no idea what it is. And so to be able to put some tags or things on there, because I'm looking at these 8mm that were shot in the 50s, and I'm like, I have no idea where that is. I see we're on a beach somewhere, but were we in New Jersey? Were we in Florida? Where were we? So it's not only just for us to view, it's for future generations, because this stuff, everything that we're doing is probably going to be here a hell of a lot longer than any of us.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we have a little bit more time now. I know that Holly and Barb both have something to share. Are both of you going to be here next week? And if so, does either of you care who goes first? I mean, we're going to probably just have time for one quick video. So
Mine's
depending.
I'm sorry. Mine's about
How long is yours, Barb?
a minute and a half video. I don't know how about Holly's.
Mine's
Holly?
almost 5 minutes, so
Are
maybe
you going to be here next week, Holly?
I plan to probably.
Holly, will you be here next week?
Probably.
Okay, well, why don't we show Barb's real quick, just because hers is a little shorter and that'll give us time to chat about it before we sign off. Does that sound good, Barb?
That's fine. Or yes, that's fine. Okay. This video will be self-explanatory when you start watching it. Last week, we were invited to neighbors. And so I decided, often I use my photos for cards, you know, birthday cards or anniversary or whatever, or thank you cards. But this time I decided I would make a little short video to thank them for the time down there. So share. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right.
mic is open.
Like that. I like that you had a purpose. And I think one of the things we can get from each other in this SIG is, what do you do with all these photos? What do you do with video clips? And that was really nice. I bet they liked getting that.
They did, but you know, like I said, I typically would send a card that had my photo on it, but I thought, well, let me put this in a video. It was, it was conducive to doing that. So,
right. Share those memories.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you find a favorite bourbon?
Well, actually, I'm not a bourbon drinker. It's my husband, but I decided, hey, that's why they've invited us, you know, because she said we could have wine too. But so once I got past that first taste and the burn in your mouth, finally did the tastings and they went down okay. But
the appetizers looked great too.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Yeah.
And he researched, you know, the different ones and then researched what you should serve, you know.
Oh.
Actually crackers between them, and then of course then we dug into more of the other appetizers. But
yeah,
a fun outing, and this would be a fun way to thank them, you know, just to jump in video.
Barb, I have a technical question for you. So at least on my screen, there was like a black border around some of them. Is that an iPhone feature, or was it the ratio that you were using? Or was that just on my screen?
You mean it wasn't full screen? There were black spaces on some of the verticals? Is that what you mean?
Well, on the horizontal ones also. So, I mean, so like on the video editing I use, when I see that, I can spread the image out to fill up the whole frame. Can you do that on the iPhone? Or whatever video editing you're using?
Typically take my pictures in a 16:9 ratio, but I needed to crop out some things just so I could focus on what I wanted to show in each one.
Sure.
Maybe that's why it's an off size. Todd, does that make sense that it's?
Yeah. And I understand with the horizontal ones, or I mean the vertical ones, there's going to be black on each side, but I also noticed that on many of the horizontal ones.
This was put together very quickly. I would spend, typically on mine, I'd spend a lot more time. The music was an iMovie jingle that I found that was the length of time I needed and stuff.
Sure.
It worked.
No, it was good. That was fun.
Barb, did you crop those pictures before you brought them into iMovie or once they were in iMovie?
And it depended. Some of them I cropped before, but then, you know, in iMovie, we can do a fit to screen and some
Right.
or crop and stuff. So the important thing for me, more than going 16:9 in this particular piece, was because it's a one-time show and then it's done. But was to zoom in or be able to get enough of the stuff out of there that I could zoom in on the bottle name and that type of thing.
Sure. Okay. Well, you know, the one thing, this was a great idea in terms of, it's something that I never would have thought of, that, hey, let's make just a nice little video with some of these photos that you've taken, and it presents it in a unique way that, like you said, you would normally take one of your photos and put it on a card and send it to them, which I think is very nice too. It's always nice to thank people, but then to put together a quick little video, it accomplishes a couple things. It gets you showing them some of your stuff. It also, I think, gets you more familiar with software and using like iMovie and things you can and can't do. So that was well done in that regard.
I have to run. See y'all next week, hopefully.
Bye,
Okay.
Ron.
Bye, Ron.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your being here. I didn't screw up horribly, but I hope everybody has a great week to come, and we'll see you next week. And Holly, we'll see your video next week. That'll be wonderful.
Hey, Kevin,
you, everybody.
before you go,
Oh, yes.
everyone else could log off and everything. I had